What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm your host, Brad, joined by my co-host, Micah.
I've just been collecting katanas, Brad. That's my goal. Is I want to collect all the curved blades.
It's funny that you're reliving vicariously through Elden Ring what you wanted to do in your 20s, but that's but that's fun.
Oh man,
it's probably best you didn't get into that IRL just because of we've all heard the story of the one katana that you do have that you kept above your bed, unsheathed.
Yeah. I have a scar right here.
Yeah,
and the hair never grew back because bam, right in the head.
Yep. Lesson for you kids. Don't. Actually, this is gonna be a episode full with lessons. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. Just the constant flow of positivity last week, because we're back to actual gaming news, which of course means that we're going to be bringing the relentless negativity because companies just can't get their shit straight. You know whose turn it is in the barrel this week, Micah? Polyphony Studios, makers of Gran Turismo 7, a game that I am still really enjoying. But last week, they had to take it offline for about 30 hours. And the thing about Gran Turismo 7 is that if you can't connect to the internet, you cannot play Gran Turismo 7 because everything is reliant on their servers. Even their quote-unquote single-player mode requires an online connection because all of your progress is synced to their servers. There's no local save data.
That stinks. Like I remember hearing some reviews, but I don't recall anybody saying that.
Yeah. I feel like Sport was the same. No, Sport you could definitely play. There was a couple modes you could play offline. Like there were some modes that you could not play if you weren't connected, but there were definitely some offline available modes in Sport as well. So that sucked. And so they patched that to fix the issue because it was an issue that they had with an update that they were putting out essentially that caused some systems to like not turn on or something like that. I don't know, but when they patched the game, when they put the fix out, a lot of folks that play the game. So let me kind of rewind here real quick. So farming has always been a part of the Gran Turismo series because you have cars that you want to buy, and you have to buy parts for the cars, and you know the in-game credits that are available are not unlimited. You have to earn them, and you earn them through racing and doing activities in the game. So usually people that play Gran Turismo seriously will figure out like what are the races, what are the activities in the game that you can do to get the highest credit per hour earning potential, essentially. So like you're sitting there, like how can you farm most efficiently, much like you would in like an MMO or anything of that sort, essentially. And so there's a couple races that basically paid out like if you farmed them you'd get like anywhere between like 100 to 125,000 credits per hour, essentially, which doesn't sound fun, and it's not. But much like in real life, if you want to buy the cool fun toy, then you have to go do some work to be able to earn some money to pay for it. You can't buy it on credit in GT Sport. So when the update came back, a lot of folks had noticed that some of the races that were identified as being like the most efficient to farm for credits had their outputs decreased in the new with the new update that came out. Now, mind you, you can still pay money to buy credits in game if you want to do. That's still something that's there. So there's an article on GT Planet that kind of breaks this down really effectively. So before the patch came out, basically here it is here. So Gran Turismo 7, you could earn 1.75 million credits per hour. Okay, which is the third best efficiency rating for the Gran Turismo series. Okay. And so that's pretty good considering that, and that's even probably a little light considering that some of the cars in the game cost like 18 million credits. Like you'd have to grind for, 12 hours to earn enough credits to get that stuff. But when the patch came out, Gran Turismo 7 drops to the seventh most efficient in terms of how long it takes to be able to buy, those top cars. 10.9 hours, about 205 races you'd have to earn, in order to grind this stuff out. Which is, again, when it's one thing if you're going to be like, okay, you got to grind it out, and this is what it is. It's another thing when you're like, hey, you got to grind it out, or you can pay us money to do that. There was a letter that came out from the creator of Gran Turismo, who basically said, like, hey, patience, I wish I could talk about the stuff that we plan on doing in the game, but just, please trust us, and this, that, or the other thing. But again, they're not like, it's not like they're reversing course on what they're doing. Community's pissed. Like, the community's really upset about this, which I fucking understand, because they do this, like, it's stuff that if this wasn't in the game, or if this wasn't the noise around the game, wouldn't be as big of a deal, but because the game is where it is, it's like a slap in the face. So, like, they have these, like, roulette wheels, which are basically like loot boxes, but you only earn them through playing the game, essentially. Like, you can't buy them separately or anything like that. And you get it for, like, your daily reward or whatever. Like, they have a thing in the game where if you drive 26.2 miles in a single day, then you get, like, a reward. Just for kind of, it's like a login bonus of sorts. And so it gives you this roulette wheel where you can win, like, different, you can win credits, you can win a car, you can win tuning parts, whatever. Usually it's credits, and usually it's like a paltry amount of credits. And so, but one of the things you can also get is an invitation. Like, they have this, like, envelope that says one of the prizes, and I won one of the prizes that was the envelope, and it's like, oh, we'd like to invite you to Brand Central to purchase these exclusive, very rare cars that we have available on sale. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So you go into Brand Central, and it's like, hey, would you like to buy this Ferrari for, like, 4 million credits? And I'm like, no, I actually would not. And there, but like, this invitation, because, like, the invitation's good for, like, 2 weeks. So, like, this icon persists on my GT home screen above Brand Central, just reminding me that they, basically we'd like to invite you to take a look at these cars that are probably unattainable for you right now. But just remind you that they're here, not being purchased by you. So
yeah, like, FOMO.
Yeah, what? It's stuff like that, and it's completely unnecessary. Like, GT used to be such a wholesome game series, and stuff like this, it just seems like a path, turn to the dark side in many ways for a game that really doesn't need it. Especially for as much of, like I talked about last week, as much as a love letter to cars that this game is. Like, you don't need to do all this dumb shit. Like it's really not necessary at all.
Yeah, it does feel odd. One of the reasons why I never got back into Gran Turismo is because my sister deleted my save file back when GT2 was released, and that just killed it for me because I put a lot of work into it. But that's what I think of when I think of Gran Turismo. I think of, you put in a lot for that racing series, for that particular game, but you earn everything. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It just felt like Polyphony was the type of company that was just like, hey, I know this is hard, but it'll be worth it in the end. And now it's just like, or I can just bend over and you can give me $1 and you can have your way with me. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't sit right.
Well, and I think I mentioned this last week. Like, the other problem is it's such a diversion from how cars could be purchased in GT Sport, because, like, GT Sport had microtransactions as well. First of all, you could disable the prompt for microtransactions in the game, which I talked about on the show before, and I really appreciated that. Like, whenever you bought a car in GT Sport, it would always say, hey, do you want to pay for this in credits, or do you want to pay for this in PlayStation Store money? And you could actually turn off the option to pay for it in PlayStation Store money. Like, you could literally go into the settings and say, I don't even want this to be an option. And they were like, cool, like, well, we won't show it to you. But even if you did that, even if you did want to spend real money, like a car, like the Mercedes AMG, like the Lewis Hamilton, F1 car that they had in the game from 2018, was like 4 million in-game credits. Or you could pay $4 of real money for that. Which is, but again, in relative terms, that's fine. Now you'd have to pay $40 because $20 gets you 2 million in-game credits. So they basically, like hyperinflation has hit the Gran Turismo universe, essentially. So that it has devalued the worth of the Gran Turismo credit. Down to that of the Russian ruble currently, essentially right now. So damn, man. It just feels scummy. It feels scummy. And look, I haven't spent an extra penny in GT7. I don't feel compelled to spend any extra money, and I'm still having a great time with the game. There's still plenty to do. I'm still working my way through like the unlocking of tracks and things of that nature as well. And the game still feels really fun to play. It's just unfortunate that this other issue like exists on the periphery that, and again, they constantly are reminding you, because literally every time you receive like a gift of credits, it's always like, oh, would you like to top off your credits with in the PlayStation Store? And I'm just like, I would not actually. Please stop
that's gross,
suggesting this to me. It's completely unnecessary. And I just, like I said, just make your game good, make it fair. And you'd be surprised how much money people will be willing to give you if they don't feel like that they have to spend it. Like that's where people get into trouble with these games. If you feel like you have to spend money to be efficient, that's where people get upset. But if it's, hey, I feel like I'm progressing well in the game, and yeah, maybe I'm just going to be a little impatient here and maybe kick some money for this specific thing or whatever. Like that's one thing, but the way they're doing it is not kosher.
I don't mind a store being there, right? Because that's just the way that the industry has gone now. I don't mind a store being there, but I do mind pop-ups. Like pop-ups are just fucking annoying. And it's just kind of gross, but like the store's there. Like I get it, right? And then I have the nerve to be like, you want to round up? Like, yo, I'm not at a CVS. Like, I don't want to donate 71 cents to whatever charity. Like, no, I don't want to round up. Leave me alone. Jesus Christ.
So it's unfortunate. And again, like we've seen it so many times. Like when you like dumb stuff like this takes all the oxygen up in the room. Like the game came out, launched really well, reviewed really well. There was a lot of positive buzz around it. Everyone's like, oh, like, it's the best Gran Turismo ever, and it's so nice to have this series back. And then all of a sudden, oh look, they hid microtransactions from reviewers. Oh look, now now this shit's happening again. And now, like, because of that, like, I don't know how much this actually matters to them, but like the game got review bombed on Metacritic. So like it's the lowest user rated PlayStation game on Metacritic right now because people got pissed off at the negative news around it. So like it's such an unforced error. Like you just didn't have to do it this way. You really didn't. Is it really getting you that much that the negative PR that you're suffering is worth all this? I don't know how much money they're pulling in for microtransactions right now. So like it's it's impossible to tell. Now watch this at the end of the year, PlayStation will be like, oh, Gran Turismo 7, earned $1 billion in microtransactions. And it's like a new FIFA. I don't think that'll be the case, but we'll see.
Let's hope not. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I really do hope not. I don't need to incentivize them to make it even worse to grind cars in that game. Good Lord.
Awkward transition. Go to densepixels.com/fans and join our Discord. You can talk about all kinds of cool stuff there. When you go to densepixels.com/fans, you'll get an invite. And then, it's an easy setup. You're probably on Discord anyway. And come. Be merry and jovial and talk about all the stuff that you want to talk about. Since you're already on the internet, go to youtube.com/densepixels and subscribe. Smash that like button. I was watching some YouTube videos earlier. What do some of these people say? Hey, really appreciate it if you could give me a like and subscribe. There's a lot of foreign people on YouTube just raking in money, man. Like just raking in money hand over fist. And we need a foreign correspondent on Dense Pixels so that they can hear that foreign accent. Hey guys, it's Grace. Hey guys, smash that like button. You know what I mean? Like, we need something. We need something. If Carrie comes back in here, we're going to demand that she do some sort of foreign accent just so that we can get you to smash that like button and hit subscribe. And since you're subscribing, subscribe to all the TMP Studios podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, including the Nerd Apocalypse, Black on Black Cinema, Coming Distractions, the weekly preview episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast. And if that's not enough, and we know it's not, go to densepixels.com/premium. For $5 a month, $50 for the full year, you get access to the premium slate of podcasts, including the airing of grievances, No Time to Bleed, The Men with the Golden Tongues, Upstage Conversations, and the full episode of the Look Forward Political Podcast. Carrie joins us. Carrie, quickly, very quickly, okay? I'm giving you time to prepare. Very quickly, do a foreign accent.
No, thank you.
That is what happens when Carrie literally comes in 30 seconds after Micah calls her out, and he did not know she was coming. That's the best part.
Oh. Did you think I could do a foreign accent?
Micah seems to think the key to us blowing up on YouTube is to not sound like filthy Americans.
Oh, would do fucking pip cheerio? Like, what the fuck you want me to do? Best I can do is like a New York. Like,
I think that's arguably more American of an accent.
Oh. Could be worse. Could be Boston.
Was that the whole thing? Was that the whole ad read? I've completely lost my train of
yes.
My train of focus. Okay. Before we get into the bad news, Carrie, have you been playing anything fun that you'd like to sit here and talk about and discuss?
Did I tell you? Did I talk about Guardians of the Galaxy on this show?
No, you have not.
That a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I started playing that. I'm not super far into the game, but I think it's fun. I love the soundtrack. I feel like the game fits very comfortably between MCU film Guardians and contemporary comic book Guardians in terms of the way that everyone is sort of characterized and the general vibe of everything. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be as fun as it is. But yeah, you do like the huddle move, and then like one of like the pop songs will play for a while after that. So I'm in the middle of this boss fight, and I like do the huddle, and what kicks off is Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley, and I'm like, am I being punked right now? Like, so yeah, that's been fun. I picked up Pokemon Brilliant Diamond finally, and yep, it is a Pokemon game. I enjoy it, but it is very classic Pokemon. And these past couple days, I've been replaying Paradise Killer because that game got an update last week. So I've been digging through trying to find all the new content. I have now found all the new content, and now I can finish the game. So,
very fun.
That's it for me.
I am very proud of the teaser that I wrote in the docket for this next story, which is that it looks like the workers have been taking the initiative to get the heck out of Microsoft's new studio.
Shut the fuck up.
Which is called The Initiative. And they're working on the Perfect Dark remake, but apparently they have seen a bit of a staff exodus over the last year, essentially. More than 30 departures since the start of 2021.
And not just like entry-level developers, like design director, lead level director, principal game designer, principal world builder, lead systems designer, technical director, director of narrative, like big big important positions, leadership positions are leaving en masse from this project.
Yeah, and again, like, it bears reminding that this is a new studio. Like, this studio is not that old. This was a big, like, focal point of, like, Microsoft's, hey, we're making games announcement that they did a couple years ago during E3. And this is why, like, people, might have remembered a couple of weeks ago, there was a big story that Microsoft was kind of like subcontracting Crystal Dynamics from Square to help work on this Perfect Dark game that's coming out. And this is pretty much why Crystal Dynamics has had to work on this, because of all of this talent and all of these high-ranking folks that have left from this studio. A lot of people that have left have cited the fact that the project's moving along very slowly, and that there's a lack of creative freedom under the studio's current leadership right now. Which I'm not sure how to feel about that. I mean, it's...
Yeah, you have a project that you're supposed to be doing, like, I mean, if I'm making a Perfect Dark, I think it would be pretty creative if, like, giant penguins were to walk around and all of a sudden they would be your enemies. But, like, I don't think that fits in the Perfect Dark universe.
I mean, I'm just kind of relieved that this just seems to be, good old-fashioned garden variety studio mismanagement instead of anything like harassment related after the past several years of the game industry. So.
Man, I swore. I looked at those first two stories and I'm like, the way you worded the Polyphony story, I'm like, oh shit! Like, did they like?
Oh no, Polyphony is just normal video game corporate greed flaring its ugly head.
Like, isn't that sad? Isn't that sad? Like, that's immediately where I go now, was that some company has been caught harassing people or overworking them. And that's where my head is for all of these video game companies. No, this is just your regular run-of-the-mill, good old-fashioned corporate greed.
Don't worry, Michael. We'll have a story for you coming up coming up soon. But like I said, it's just odd, and like none of us are expecting this Perfect Dark game to be worth a shit when it comes out, right? Especially with this news tracking at this point.
No, this has already felt like such a troubled development that I would be surprised if this came out and was anywhere near good, let alone passable.
Yeah, Perfect Dark the first game was so fun. I really enjoyed it. At least I remember enjoying it, and it could have been something. I remember enjoying GoldenEye. I would never go back to play it. Like, get the fuck out of here, right?
I mean, that's the thing is, Perfect Dark came out basically on the heels of GoldenEye, I believe.
I mean, it was the next game from that studio.
Ran on the same engine and took everything that GoldenEye had sort of popularized and, elevated it a little bit. And that's why the original Dark, I think, is looked back upon so fondly, is simply because of what it was at the time. I don't know that you can make a Perfect Dark game now and have it land anywhere near the same, simply because of where we are technologically and in terms of overall game design.
Yeah, I agree. I just, I don't know. That could have been something, man. I don't know. I think the elements of the story, such as it was, you could have had. Maybe not maybe not like a long running franchise, but like that second Perfect Dark where they took Joanna Dark from this cool spy to this, like, I don't know what the fuck she was, man. She was a current YouTuber, you know what I mean? Like, she's just, it's like, what is this? And like, that's not even me being old, because I wasn't old back then, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It didn't sit right.
God, that recent Perfect Dark did come out like over 15 years ago at this point, which is kind of hard to wrap your head around. I don't.
2010. Yeah,
it was before
12
that.
years ago.
It was before that. It wasn't
The
like a
most-
launch game for the 360. Perfect Dark
2010.
Zero.
Perfect Dark Zero was 2005.
Yeah. What came out in
And then
2010?
Perfect Dark.
Oh, they
Now
probably
they're
did
making another Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
We have seen Perfect Dark, Perfect Dark, Perfect Dark Zero, Perfect Dark, and will now be receiving, you guessed it, Perfect Dark.
I don't know. Like it's one of those games that like I feel like gets a lot more credit than it probably deserves for the reasons that Carrie specified, because it's literally it's the pseudo sequel to GoldenEye, essentially.
Look,
Game
if you
of its
want
time.
if you want the real high quality Perfect Dark experience, you dig out your favorite handheld, that of course being the Game Boy Color. You play the Game Boy Color version of that title. Because that's a thing that exists that people tend to forget about.
See, to me it's like everyone like clamoring for the rebirth of like the Syphon Filter franchise. And like, oh, it was so good. I'm like, but Metal Gear did it so much better than Syphon Filter did.
It really did.
Like it got eclipsed in its day. Like I don't understand why you're like clamoring for this game to come out.
Plus, I never liked the way Syphon Filter Man ran. I never liked it. Like he always seemed to be
not even putting any respect on Gabe's name. He's Syphon Filter Man.
Is that his name?
It's Gabe something. I don't remember what his last name is, but his name is Gabe. But he's Syphon Filter Man now.
Yeah, man. Nah, that's Syphon Filter Man.
Syphon Snake.
Syphon
That's what he is. Holy shit.
God.
Oh my god. Yeah, we don't need another Syphon Filter, and I really just don't feel like we need another Perfect Dark. Well, I get why studios are hung up on old IP. But
the reboot of Perfect Dark is simply happening because dumb shits my age are nostalgic for having played it on the Nintendo 64, but they have not actually gone back and replayed the Nintendo 64 version in a long time. So they simply have their memories of the game, which are fond, and that's fine. I have plenty of fond memories for games that have not aged particularly well. But that's why they're making a new one, and it's going to come out, and everyone's, people are going to buy it and be like, oh, huh. It's okay. And it's going to get a 7 out of 10. And that's going to be the end of that.
Yeah, it'll be exactly that. It'll be a 7. It'll have multiplayer that's fun for like 5 minutes, and then no one will play it after 2 weeks, and that'll be the end of that. So we've seen this story before. It'll be the Outriders of 2024. That's what it'll be. And again, nothing wrong with Outriders. I enjoyed the 15 hours that I put into it, and I will tell you that since I put that game down, I haven't once thought about it. Like, I haven't thought about it a single time. Until just now. Exactly.
What a very, very apt comparison.
Yeah.
Like, you made that comparison, and it clicked. I was like, okay, that's exactly what it would be.
Yep. Like I said, played that game, was like, wow, this is fun. Put it down to play something else, and I haven't given it a thought since then. So not one single synapse in my brain has gone to Outriders. Well, Micah, good news for you, buddy. Sony apparently has 8, or not apparently, they do have 8 former employees alleging sexual harassment in the workplace against the company. That Sony tried to, there's one of the ex-employees is filing suit against them, which Sony tried to get thrown out of court, and then many other women came forward as well, saying that they experienced similar things while they were at Sony as well. So Sony, the latest company to have their misdeeds being surfaced.
Here we go.
Have they named any names?
They've not.
As far as people specifically accused, no. But we do have names of the women who are leveling these accusations, including Marie Harrington, a former Sony Interactive senior director who left in 2019, apparently, quote, due to systemic sexism against women, which she reported throughout her career and outlined in 9 pages, saying that they were undervalued. Leadership highlighted high performers at the company in calibration sessions and did not highlight women, said that 70 workers were being reviewed during a calibration session and only 4 of them were women. Also said that, and tell me if you've heard this one before, the men at Sony would rank female employees by their hotness and pass around filthy jokes and images of women. Apparently an engineer asked her not to wear skirts to work because it was distracting him. Male engineers went to strip clubs during lunch hours and shared pornography with each other.
Okay. The only reason I asked if they named names is because, Brad, your stepdad, Sean Layden, is 100% was a part of this. He was 100% a part of this. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. Because he just got, and I'm stereotyping. Look at him.
I really hope not.
Look,
I like Sean.
I don't want that to happen to anybody on either side. But nah, yo. Nah. There's something about that dude, man.
Again, I think we mentioned this when
he's like a cool Ted Cruz.
Oh, I don't like that comparison. I don't care for that comparison, and I can kind of see it, which makes me care for it even less. Yep. So I don't appreciate that at all, I have to say. I think I said when the rumblings of this story first started kind of emerging a couple weeks ago that Sony would do well to get out in front of this as much as possible. Trying to get this lawsuit thrown out of court is not a great first step, and
that's not getting in front of it.
Yeah, and not publicly, releasing statements, talking about proactively what you're going to do. Also not getting out in front of it. I don't think remaining silent, while that's probably the prudent thing to do from a legal exposure standpoint, is not a great thing to do from a public relations exposure standpoint. Because when you let it fester, you just let more people have their narrative, and it makes it look like you're not caring or doing anything about it. So,
yeah, this sucks.
Sure does. One former employee in a statement said that she worked with 4 other women during her 5 years at Sony, all of which ended up leaving the company for similar reasons relating to sexual discrimination, harassment, and not being able to earn a promotion. Instances where men made comments about women not understanding technology. And another time where a senior manager attempted to grab her breast at an offsite work event. Apparently, another former employee said that a certain amount of attrition after the PlayStation 5 launch was expected. The disproportionate number of women leaving has alarmed leadership. As it should, because that means that you're not creating an environment where women want to be there.
I don't understand if you are if you're any company, honestly, you should be doing this on an ongoing basis. But especially if you are a large company or even a small company in the video game industry, every company is not taking a step back and doing like an internal audit and an honest one of themselves right now, just to kind of make sure that everything is going as it should. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It really seems like that's a smart thing that many companies could do. That I feel like no one is, and we're going to keep seeing shit like this popping up. It's not in here, but I know the developer of the Ori games, the Ori and the Blind Forest series of games, they have cropped up as being a hostile work environment, which is insane because that studio, I think it's Moon Studios, is known for being a remote exclusive company. Like they don't have offices, they all work remote, and somehow you can't keep this shit out of your company's Slack. Like is that seriously is that
how for you to have a fully remote work environment and still have it be so hostile towards women? I don't.
And to their credit, the reason I brought it up is because a lot of people were wondering. Because with Microsoft on this studio acquisition craze, they're like, oh man, I wonder why they didn't acquire Moon Studios, and also that Microsoft is not publishing their next game. Like Ori and the Will of the Wisps was the last game that they were working with Moon on. And it turns out that Microsoft was aware of this culture inside the company, and that's why they didn't want to work with them any longer. So like they purposely were like, yeah.
I just pulled up the story real quick.
Yeah.
The report paints a picture we know all too well at this point. Crunch, emotionally manipulative bosses, and incredibly rude and inappropriate jokes. Most of the issue lies with the two heads of the studio. Oh, shocker. Thomas Mahler and Gennady, fucking whatever, some European dipshit, Carol, who were known among staff to withhold positive feedback about their work, as well as make inappropriate jokes in public work chats. One Moon developer said the founders were both belligerent, and it was limited to those two, and it was unprofessional on an hourly basis.
Jesus.
Yeah. Also, Annapurna Interactive actually had a report drop about them as well, because it's not just Annapurna, it's a lot of the indie studios that Annapurna has chosen to work with that are just full of this shit. This is not something that's limited to big studios. This is just a systemic issue in the industry. And it's in my opinion, this is the result of people holding up these sort of like indie dev studio heads as like auteurs, and it's like, oh well, in order to get this good creativity, we need to just sort of let them be who they are. And it's like, you don't actually have to put up with assholes. They're just assholes. There are plenty of creative people out there who manage to not be assholes. Try it sometime.
Yeah. Or like don't, like the auteur thing is interesting because like we've seen that with so many people. Like Ken Levine's famously another one of these guys who is just notoriously difficult to work with. And because he doesn't have people skills, don't let these guys manage studios. Like have them be like the head, like driving the creative vision of the studio, but have like a studio manager. Have someone to bring the reins in. Have someone that can actually manage the office environment excellently, because just because you're this is true in any industry in the entire world, just because you're talented and creative doesn't mean that you're a good manager of people. Like that, like those are two very different skill sets, and very rarely do they translate evenly across folks. Like there's a famous real world example that gets referenced a lot. So Wayne Gretzky is pretty much the greatest hockey player of all time. Like there's an argument to be made for some other folks, but he's got all the records. Like he's definitely like
retired his number simply because he was the best to ever.
League wide. No one else in the league can wear.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I didn't know nobody could wear 99.
Yeah, nobody can wear 99 in the NHL because that's how fucking good Wayne Gretzky is.
Jesus Christ.
But Wayne Gretzky for a couple of years was a head coach and was fucking terrible. Like his teams were awful in the league, and it's because like when you're Wayne Gretzky, like you like a player, you go to a player like, hey, why can't you do this? Like, why can't you see that he's going to be there to receive this pass? And the player's like, well, because I'm not you. Like, I'm not fucking Wayne Gretzky. Like, I'm Joe hockey player. Like I'm a good hockey player, but I'm not Wayne fucking Gretzky. So like, just because you can do doesn't mean that you necessarily have the skills to do the other side of the equation as well, just because you're good at something.
Right.
Yeah.
So
George Lucas is another one.
Who
was very much like, I got this creative vision and I can do, I see it, but he just could not connect with his actors.
Yep. So you gotta, like I said, you have to have intermediaries. You don't just want people at the top that that have that creative gene. Like, you want their input, but they shouldn't be at the top of the totem pole. And again, like the Irrational Games thing is fucking wild, because those guys busted their ass to get BioShock Infinite out. And then basically 2K, like, they're like, we'll keep Ken Levine and we're closing the studio. Like, but we want to hang on to Ken Levine. And Ken Levine's like, oh, that sucks, but such is life, I guess. Like, that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So,
God damn it.
Yeah, I need the games industry to get its shit together. It's a good thing that games are so good and fun, that we have all this good stuff to talk about, because I swear to God, if we had to talk about this stuff and only this stuff week after week, this would be a really fucking shitty podcast to fucking do. We'd have to do a 2-hour podcast. There'd have to be an hour of premium content, because it would basically be Look Forward Part 2. Look Forward jobs industry. Yeah. Dense Pixels.
God damn. Awkward transition. Go to densepixels.com/Amazon. We already did the first one. Go to densepixels.com/Amazon. For all of your Amazon purchasing needs, when you go to densepixels.com/Amazon, you can help us by clicking that link. And then everything else is just you do what you normally do. What did I recently buy? I recently bought something on densepixels.com/Amazon. It was
I recently bought many things.
yeah. It's got something. My wife is usually the densepixels.com/Amazon person, but I actually bought something on densepixels.com/Amazon. And if you want me to stop saying densepixels.com/Amazon, you have to go to densepixels.com/Amazon. I bought myself an Ansel enhanced. What is this thing called? It's like a vehicle code reader, because my engine light came on.
Oh.
And
Micah
$40.
Micah couldn't be bothered to literally drive to an AutoZone and have them do it for free. He's like, I have to pay $40 to get this code that I then have to go to the internet to decipher what the code means.
I honestly didn't know AutoZone did that for
free. You can literally drive to the parking lot and be like, hey, something's wrong with my car. Can you run a code reader on it? And they'll take that same piece that you bought and stick it into the port on your computer, and they'll tell you what the error code is that's on it.
Well, fuck. Fucking asshole.
Oh boy.
Densepixels.com/Amazon and getting myself a $40 fucking code reader
that you're going to use one time.
That I'm never going to use again.
It's fantastic.
God damn it. Go to
Micah's spending money that he doesn't have to and probably shouldn't be spending. Wow, we've never seen him do that in the middle of this show before.
We have this there's the narrative on the network that like Jay like sits in an ivory tower and is like above the masses. It's actually Micah that's like the fucking aristocrat of the Dense Pixel show. He is not, I repeat, a man of the people. Micah, he sits in a tower made of solid alabaster, looking down on the rest of us, eating mustard and drinking Crystal Light as he buys parts on Amazon that he doesn't need for his car. So.
God damn it! Yo, I'm really upset at that because there's an AutoZone around the corner and there's an Advanced Auto Parts up the street. Like they're both within 1 mile of me. God fucking damn it!
Oh my god! It is the last. It's the last like big release week for a while, and like compared to some of the release weeks we've had here recently, it feels kind of off kilter calling this a huge release week, but there's some notable
games. It is still a solid week of releases.
There's some notable games on here. Itura comes to PC. Rune Factory 5 comes to Nintendo Switch.
Snuck up on me. I love Rune Factory.
Well, the problem is, from what I've heard from the reviews, best stick with Rune Factory 4. Because
I've heard it's okay. It's like I saw the like the latest trailer today, which is I guess like the launch trailer that they put out, and I was like, oh right, that's supposed to come out this spring. And then I checked and I was like, it's out now.
The Ascent gets a release on PlayStation. I guess its exclusivity with Xbox is over. Expedition Zero comes to PC. Ghostwire Tokyo comes to PC and PlayStation 5 to middling reviews. Yeah, the newest game from Tango Gameworks. Kirby and the Forgotten Land comes to Nintendo Switch, which many people are very excited for.
I played the demo of that. I forgot to mention. It is a 3-dimensional Kirby game. I'll pick it up eventually. It's not like super huge open world or anything like that, but it plays like you would expect Kirby to play in 3D.
And finally, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands comes to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. I have to give credit to YouTuber SkillUp, who had the best phrase about this game. It's basically a Borderlands game that takes place with like a swords and fantasy, like medieval times-ish motif, which is good news because if there's anything that Randy Pitchford loves, it is medieval times.
Oh, God damn it. Oh, shit.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. Our fun story of the week, not really a fun story of the week. It gives me a chance to just yell about hackers again. We're still playing Elden Ring. Elden Ring's still an amazing game. Mike is in the end game. I haven't played nearly as much as I want. However, there's one version of the game that's having a little bit of problems. That is, of course, the PC version of Elden Ring. That's because there's hackers hacking people's games when they invade them and putting them basically in a death loop that not like basically like exploiting the game so that it knocks them underneath the game world. And then when they respawn underneath the game world, and so they just keep dying over and over. And even quitting out of the game does not fix this problem, allegedly. There's even one hacker in a separate story quoted as saying that he's a necessary evil. And it's a good thing, actually, that he exists, because he's there to make sure that FromSoft is aware of issues with their game while he griefs other
Go
players.
fuck yourself.
Yeah, fuck off, dude.
Like, I mean, sure, expose a security flaw and alert them to it so that they can patch it so that it doesn't happen. But, like, just doing it to people for the sake of doing it, fuck you. Like, you an asshole. Like,
yeah, dude, you're not applying for a job with the FBI. You know what I mean? Like,
it ain't cute.
Yeah, fuck off, man. God damn it! I wanted to laugh at the Master Race's misfortune, but now I can't because like people are being dicks.
I still will, because again, I don't have this problem on console. Just saying, no problems here because all of our patches have to go through approval by Sony, so it's all good. Again, just another lesson: don't play games on your PC.
There you go.
PCs for working and podcast recording. That's about it.
PCs are for working and for working it. That's it.
I like how Carrie's surprised as if she's not well aware that Micah talking about masturbation comes up at least like twice a year on this program.
Look, I am simply not interested in thinking about Micah's dick. Like,
we go to the post office where Rogue Creative asks 2 questions. And I like this question because I think we've talked about it before, but I don't know if we've been ever directly asked it in this sense. Game genres that we find interesting, but have never been able to get into ourselves.
Real-time strategy.
And for me, it's turn-based strategy. I should love turn-based strategy games, but for some reason, everyone that I ever play just does not click, and I bounce off.
As a board game aficionado,
yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, you'd think that I'm right there, but
I think for me, it's like roguelikes. Like I respect the roguelike. Not interested in playing the roguelike. And the other thing for me is honestly like racing and sports sims. I'm down with like a fun arcade style racer or like even arcade sports games where shit's just wacky and over the top. I, as a significant fan of Major League Baseball, you would figure that I would be interested in playing MLB The Show, and I just like fucking can't do it. Baseball's hard, and it's I don't want to play like a real baseball game because it's hard. Turns out it's actually very difficult to hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and Sony has opted not to make it any easier in their video game. So if you play sports sims, good for you. I just can't.
I don't have the brain power for real-time strategy games. I can't. My brain can't think that fast.
Plus, you'd have to play it on a PC, which was, as we already discussed, not an ideal circumstance. Nope. He also asks, would y'all, and by y'all he means me, ever consider doing an F1 watch party online? I hadn't considered it before, but I am considering it now that they said something. I know that one of our listeners, Kiroshine, did one, I think this weekend. And that sounds fun to me because, like, when I'm watching the race, I'm just kind of sitting there watching it anyway. So it would not be a bad idea to talk over it and to watch it along with those of you that would be interested. So I might look into doing that. I know the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix is this weekend, and that race last year was straight fire. Micah, any progress in Drive to Survive so far? Jay is in it right now. Like, Jay is in it.
I'm working from home tomorrow, so I will start it tomorrow.
Excellent. Trust me, Jay, like, me and Jay were talking all day today because he watched like 3 episodes, I think, while he was at work, and he just kept reacting to what was going on, and it's just funny that I knew exactly where he was in the series thus far. So yeah, that's something I'll definitely think about doing, and if I do, it'll be on Twitch. So go to twitch.tv /DensePixelsBrad and /DensePixels, and because we're trying to get the, like, we know who has the Dense Pixels login, but we don't know which email address it's under. So me and Jay are trying to figure that out right now.
Oh my God.
So we're working on getting that dusted off. So more to come there. Daniel asks, who is the hardest Elden Ring boss so far?
I don't know. I keep seeing people talk about Radon.
Radon is not hard.
Radon?
He's incredibly fun. It's an incredibly fun fight. And I don't know if you've done it yet, Brad.
I have not.
If not, you should do it. It's like there's this whole like festival where all the warriors that you've met like group together to take out Radon, and you come in and you can spawn all of them, and it's in the giant field in Caelid, and you have to run up to him, and it's so much fun.
I know he also rides like a comically small horse as he's running.
Yeah, because that was his horse. That was his horse when he was a child. That was his horse when he was a
big
child.
Big man on a little horse.
No, like a giant man on a little horse.
Yeah,
he's like a skyscraper sized man on like a regular downtrodden horse. Essentially, it's very funny, and he does ride it. Like, you think that he's just like running around. No, he's actually riding the horse. It's quite ridiculous.
Yeah, man.
So I haven't progressed nearly as far as Micah has. Who was the hardest boss that I've encountered so far? Godric was the only one that I felt like I needed help for, and I feel like Godric is there just to beat the shit out of melee players early in the game. Like, Godric's super easy if you're using magic, but if you're rocking melee, then he is much more difficult. And they make up for that because Renala was super easy if you're a melee fighter. So, like, it was it's kind of balanced that way. But I'm not deep enough into the game to really be able to answer that question yet, I don't think. So
yeah, they're not hard in a sense that's like I don't know how to do this. Mm-hmm. They're all hard in the sense that if you get hit, you're gonna get mollywopped, right? Mm-hmm. Like, the patterns are easy to they generally have a beginning like set of attacks, and then you either wear down half of their health or all of their health, and then their health comes back, and then they have a different style. But the patterns are easy to recognize. It's just timing your dodges.
I'll tell you, he gave me some trouble. That fucking knight, that NPC knight that you face before you get to Renala in the academy. The one who, like, if you attack him with normal attacks and he parries you, which he seems to do like every time, he just fucking one-shots you with a.
It's like a Crucible Knight. Crucible Knight. Yeah, man.
Fuck that guy.
Bastards. Fuck those Crucible Knights. Yeah, that's my problem. I have issues with like
the Bloody Fingers characters and shit.
Yeah, man. Like, the Bloody I had to go through this one town that like gives you madness if you just kind of go through it, and I didn't have anything to counteract the madness, and I'm riding, and once your madness meter fills up, just a chunk of your health goes off, you fall off your horse and you just writhe around in pain because you're going crazy, and you got to get through that town to fight this bloody finger, and then he can inflict madness on you. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man.
So, such a good game though. I posted this on Twitter, but I got a haircut yesterday, and like I'm normally not chatty in the barber's chair. I don't like talking to strangers typically. So, but I talked the whole time with my barber yesterday. And what did we talk about the whole time? We talked about Elden Ring the entire time. Yeah. That's how cool. That's how cool Elden Ring is. Cam asks, to end it out, what are some of the best quality of life update items that you can recall in game series that you enjoy? The example that he gives is the link cable item being added to Pokemon games, which lessened the need to actually find people to trade with to evolve Pokemon.
Yeah, that's a big one. I would also, and it's not an item, but it was the immediate thing that came to my mind, was when when they remade Ocarina of Time on the 3DS, you could now map the different boots that you wear to like an item slot and use it as an item rather than having to pause the menu and equip the boots and unpause the menu, which means that the water temple is no longer an enormous pain in the ass. The infamously terrible water temple from the N64 version is really only so bad because you are constantly pausing the game to equip or unequip the iron boots. So that was the first thing that popped right into my mind. Yeah, that's it for me. I can't think of like an item that makes the game easier to play in a series or anything like that.
Mine's not an item either. Like mine, so the first game that did this that I can remember is Kingdoms of Amalur. And I don't know how every RPG to this day has not incorporated this. And that is a feature where you can mark items in your inventory as junk, and then when you get to a merchant, you can just, with one button, sell anything that you have marked as junk.
Yeah.
Or dismantle anything that you have marked as junk into crafting materials. How does every RPG not do this at this point? I do not understand.
The other thing I just thought of, much as I think Bravely Default can kiss my ass, the one thing that I do think that they put in the game that I liked and I respected was the fact that you could set the frequency of random battles. You could turn random battles off if you were like, fuck this, I'm already over leveled. I just want to run straight to the boss and advance the story and not be held up. That's great. If you're like, all right, cool, time to grind. I don't want to have to run around in circles forever. I want like bip, bap, bip, like give me another random battle every single step that I take. You can crank that shit all the way up. I think all RPGs should allow you to set the frequency of random battles if they happen to have random battles.
That's actually a very good one because I remember that, and yeah, sometimes
it's the only thing I respect in Bravely Default.
and if an RPG has your encounters on the map, then I wish they would all do the Earthbound thing. And when you were over leveled over an encounter, not only would the enemy run away from you, but if you ran up on the enemy and attacked them, you would instantly win the battle. Like it wasn't even you didn't have to do the fight. It was just like, oh, you're attacking this enemy, you just win. That's it.
I actually like that too.
Yeah.
And that game's like 30 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, like you don't even go into the battle. It's just like, oh, like here's the battle encounter loading screen. Oh, you won. Here's your rewards. Perfect. And like I said, the enemies would run away from you anyway, and usually what you get out of it was not worth, the XP that you would gain is not worth even chasing after them. So like I'd rather them just run away in fear from you than do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Every RPG needs to have a quality of life person on staff.
I agree.
Like that should be a job at every role-playing game studios. Like, make sure that this game isn't a fucking pain in the ass to play with dumb shit that we're overlooking right now. So, Any game that has like settings that you tweak, so like because I'm playing Gran Turismo, like that's on my mind right now. Like the best thing they added to that game was different spec sheets, so that you can like make different presets for your car based on, this is a super, windy track, this is a fast track, this is my rain setup, this, like, so you can just instantly switch and not have to tweak everything, individually before you go into a specific race. Every game just needs to have better quality of life features. God damn it! Like there is no game that is above getting some QOL features in here. Cam has touched a nerve with this topic with me this week, because there's nothing I hate more than having a feature in a game that's like really like in the studio with 250 of you, like not one person thought, hey, maybe we should do this with this feature. So that is it for the show. Thank you guys for submitting your questions to the post office, which you can also do by joining our Discord by going to densepixels.com/fans. Make sure you subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or anywhere else that you get fine podcast. Go to youtube.com/densepixels. Subscribe there as well. And again, follow us on Twitch. You can go to twitch.tv/densepixels, /densepixelsbrad, /aberration410, or /subbitscarry to follow us all. I'm strongly considering the F1 watch along thing. I might play with some formats. I might see, so like I have the F1 TV subscription, which I used for the first time this weekend. Magnificent. There's so many cool things on there. So like not only can you switch between different broadcast feeds for the race itself, but they also have like a track map feature where you can see where everyone is located on the track as it goes around, which is also very nice. They have a data thing where you can see how long each driver has been on their specific tires, like what their fastest laps are, like what sectors they're running, and you can switch individually between the camera feeds for each car like on demand and listen to like their radio feeds and see the view through the car cameras. It's magnificent. If you are an F1 fan, well worth the $80 a year, just to have those race features on race day. Very, very cool. But my point is, I might see if I can get that somehow displayed. At least like I don't think I can broadcast the race without getting copyright strikes.
No, but you can probably do it via Discord.
Or I could do like the map. Like I could at least have like the map thing on the thing. So.
On the topic of Twitch, since I don't know what the hell my schedule's like when we record this anymore, I'm so fucking busy. I have 2 bands. I'm taking trombone lessons. I'm taking guitar lessons. I'm always busy. I'm spinning tuning plates. Next Saturday, April 2nd, on twitch.tv/VGMcon, my band's going to be on at 11 p.m. Eastern. We are closing out VGMcon's online stage on Saturday. So yeah, it's free to tune in, and we have a full set, and it's going to be a really good time. And then if you're in the Baltimore area, my band's playing at North Avenue Market on April 9th with the folks in WASD and Random Battle. So if you like video games, and if you're listening to this, I'm imagining you do, you can come out and see me play some live video game music. Have a good time.
I'm gonna stay up here in my alabaster tower and look down.
As Mike is collecting the fragments of the Elden Ring to become the Elden Lord. I look forward to you being Elden Lord when we convene next week. So
I kind of maybe there's a lot of quests that I want to do, but there's more weapons that I need to gather. Is there a new game plus to that game?
There is a new game plus to that game. All from games have it, and the runes drop plentifully apparently in new game plus mode, but it is harder, so you do have to watch out for that.
All right, we'll see. We'll see.
But hey, it gives you an excuse to run another character build, to try a new starting character point, and to spec her out differently. So
yeah, all right,
that going for you. All right. Thanks, guys, for listening and watching. We'll see you the next time.
See ya.
See ya.
You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.